What to expect when you attend for your COVID jab. I'm Emma Hammett from First Aid for Life and onlinefirstaid.com, and I'm also volunteering as a vaccinator. So we have had lots and lots of people coming in, and I thought it would be helpful to just give you a brief overview as to what to expect and what to wear, please, because we're trying to go as quickly as we can to vaccinate as many people as we can, and it makes a big difference to make sure that you're warm enough, but also that we can get to your arm as quickly as we can. So first of all, what do we need to know? Well, we will need to know whether you're well, whether you've had any COVID symptoms in the last month, and in particular, whether you've had any in the last 7 days. We will want to know if you've tested positive in the last month. Have you ever had a serious allergic reaction, an anaphylactic reaction? And in particular, we will then look and see if you are or could potentially be allergic to any of the ingredients within the vaccine. Generally, the Astra-Zeneca vaccine is better if you have previously had a serious allergic reaction to another vaccine. However, there are very few reasons why you can't have the vaccine. We will want to know if you're on warfarin. And if you're on warfarin, it's really important that you bring with you your most recent blood results. And we will need to look at those to make sure that your INR, your clotting level, is within a normal and safe range for us to be vaccinating. If you're on blood thinners, be it aspirin or any other blood thinners, we do need to know. It won't mean that you can't have the vaccine, but it means that when we give the vaccination, usually there's no blood at all, but we will just hold that cotton wool a little bit tighter for a little bit longer just to make sure that you're not going to bleed. So let us know. It won't mean that you can't have the vaccine. We'll want to know if you've had any previous vaccinations in the last 7 days. So if you're planning to have your flu or your pneumonia vaccine, then it's really helpful to spread those out and make sure that you're not having it within 7 days of the COVID vaccine. Could you be pregnant? And are you on any other COVID trial? Because sometimes when you're on a trial, you won't know whether you've had a placebo dose or a proper vaccination, in which case we will then be able to reveal which one you've had to make sure that we're not giving you too much vaccine. So that's what we need to know. Right, what to wear? We will need to get to your arm. We don't mind if it's your right or your left, you can choose. We will need to get to your arm. It will also, it's likely to be cold in the vaccination centres because we are doing our best to get circulating air. So you may be waiting outside and we may have the doors wide open whilst we're vaccinating. So have lots of layers that are easy to take off. I've been vaccinating quite a few gentlemen in particular who have lovely button-up shirts with a jumper over the top and then possibly another layer and then maybe another layer. That takes an awful long time to take off and put back on again. And we are trying to vaccinate swiftly and safely. So have some layers on. Think about your decency as well. We can move screens around and things, but if we don't have to, that's much easier for us. So if you are ending up in a vest or a t-shirt that has a sleeve that we can very easily push up to be able to vaccinate into, that is best. Cardigans are good, zip-up's fine, but just think about the fact that it will be cold. Also make sure you're waterproof because sometimes you may have to wait outside. So make sure you are warm enough that you've got warm feet and that it's waterproof. We've had, again, quite a few elderly people coming in who haven't got coats that are completely waterproof and they've been standing under a little gazebo and they've got wet and then they're cold and wet. And we want you to stay healthy. That's the whole point of this, and make sure that we can also swiftly get to you. Okay, so that's what to wear. So layers are good. What to bring? It's helpful to bring a pen. It's helpful to bring your NHS number. It's not a disaster if you can't find it, but if we can't get you on the system or find you for some reason, then it's the next stage that we can go to in order to just identify who you are and make sure that we're getting to your right GP. There's other ways we can do it, but if you've got it, that makes it much, much easier. You will need to read forms and see forms, so bring your glasses. And what will happen? So what will happen is that you will turn up at your allocated time. So you'll be contacted by your GP. So don't go sort of contacting the centres or turning up on spec, because there's nothing we can do there. So you'll be contacted by your GP and turn up a little bit earlier if you can, but otherwise we will see you as you arrive. Somebody will be outside checking you in, and then you may be ticking through your form yourself. Here's an example of one of the forms. You may be ticking through that yourself, or you may be ticking through it with a nurse or a doctor. It's your information and consent form. That's when you can ask us any questions. You will then come in to see the likes of me, a nurse, and I will again double check you've understood everything, that you're happy to go ahead, double check there's no reasons, check your INR if you're on warfarin, and then be ready to pop the injection in. The injection generally is not a painful one. On the news, they seem to be showing very long needles. It's really not a long, scary needle. Generally, people haven't felt it when I've given it, which is nice. It's very similar to receiving a flu vaccine. And the side effect profile is again very similar to flu. So we'd expect, it's possible you might have a sore arm, it could give you a headache, it could make you feel just a little bit grotty for 24, 48 hours, and you need to get hold of some paracetamol as well. Because if you take some paracetamol, that should knock all those side effects on the head. I was lucky enough to get my COVID vaccine, my Pfizer one, last week, and I didn't have any pain in my arm, and I didn't have any side effects at all. So some people do, some people don't. So you will then be given an information leaflet that you can read and learn more about it, and you will be contacted by your GP, who will tell you when to return. And hopefully the plan at the moment is for you to get the same vaccination as you had the first time. You will have a little card that we will give you, which will have the date and the information of your first vaccine. And if you bring it back with you, we can then put the second vaccination date on there as well. If you lose it, it's not a disaster, because it will all be on your medical records. But at the moment, that's all you would have as your proof that you have had the vaccine. And don't forget, it will take a while for the vaccination immunity to build up. So you need to keep yourself safe, keep distanced, keep wearing your mask. After the first vaccination, after 3 weeks, it's thought that you will be protected against serious disease, but you can still get COVID. So you need to keep safe, and you will be contacted by your GP to come back somewhere between 3 weeks and 3 months after your first vaccination in order to have your second one. At that point, you will have the maximum immunity that you can get, but no vaccine is 100%. So I really hope that's helpful. So key messages to take away from this: please wear layers. Please be nice to us as well. So far, most people have been absolutely lovely. Most of us vaccinating are volunteers. We're doing this for love and a sense of wanting to help. So please support us. And for those of us that have got other businesses we're trying to run as well, when you next need us, please come back to the likes of First Aid for Life and onlinefirstaid.com, because we'd really appreciate your help and support with that as well. So stay safe, and if this has been helpful, please share it. Thanks for listening.